Hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode. What is this, 26, something like that, of Ask the CHOQTOR. See, we got about 6 or 7 folks up in here. Thanks for being here, everybody. Hello, Laura. Hello, Sam. How goes it? If you happen to be new, I am Dr. Matt Dorsey, Doctor of Acupuncture and Chinese Medicine, aka the CHOQTOR. I am CHOQ's Chief Scientific Officer and Formulator, and just general herb and nutrition and natural living geek. And we got a great show for you today. So I'm actually preparing for tomorrow night's event. And I will, of course, plug it multiple times today. Hello, Mohammed. Good to have you back. Of course, tomorrow at 5:30 Central, at 5:30 Central, we will be having a 90-minute new segment, new show called Stay Human. And I will be going into some really interesting topics. In fact, let me get that spooled up so I can just send you guys the link multiple times and annoy you multiple times throughout today here. Let's see if we can find it by typing in "Stay Human CHOQ." Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, here we go. So here's the link. I also sent out an email today about it, and I'll send another one out tomorrow. So there's the link for you guys. Tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Should be super, super interesting. Some of the topics we're going to go into include, of course, transhumanism, big tech, privacy. Here's a new term for you: neuroweaponology. Yeah, EMFs, and how to stay human in an increasingly artificial world. You know, that sort of thing. Sam, you're going to be there. Cool. Laura, Josias, Sam, Muhammad. Hope you guys are going to be there too. Hopefully, we'll have all the regulars there. Should be pretty awesome. Be interesting to see who tunes in. But even if we don't have a giant turnout, we'll have something really interesting for everybody to be able to watch later on as an information resource. So, yeah. Destry, how's it going? Very cool name. Very interesting name. I like it. And as a little sneak preview, in a second here, I'm going to play a clip from a guy named Dr. James Giordano, PhD. He is a neuroscientist, and he deals with neuroethics. Yeah. Cool. Looks like you guys are stoked. Sam asks if I know anything about NLP, and not much. No. I am generally familiar with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, but have never practiced it. So not very familiar, no. The general theme of tomorrow is kind of like, does humanity as a whole have the spiritual and emotional mental maturity to handle its toys, right? And I'm actually writing a book right now that has to do with these exact topics. So, happen to be doing a lot of research in this area. I think technology is awesome. Obviously, using technology right now to talk to you guys, and I couldn't do that if we didn't have all this great hardware and software and the internet. But increasingly, I don't know. So tell me, do you guys find it hard to moderate your use of technology? Do you find it difficult to put your phone down, to stop watching Netflix? I find a lot of the stuff is highly addictive. And I don't know if anybody has seen the, looks like some of you guys do. If you guys have seen The Social Dilemma, and I know there's some, who knows? Some people are saying The Social Dilemma is, has some nefarious intent behind it. It could be, who knows? I have no idea. I found it to be pretty eye-opening though. But basically what we know is that there are classes at Stanford, for example, taught on how to make your software more addictive for people, And think about this though, right? So the transhumanists, right? The Kurzweils of the world, the Jason Sosas of the world, the techno optimists, they seem to think that technology getting more and more invasive, deeper and deeper into our minds and our bodies is a good thing, right? But right now, just having all this stuff around, like right now I'm looking at 3 different screens, including this thing, and I'm shooting this on my, iPhone, all these devices. As it is right now, none of this is inside my body yet, right? And yet it's hard to put this stuff down. It's really hard, it's highly addictive. And I don't know if for somebody or for those of y'all who were here yesterday, I showed that clip from that transhumanist futurist guy, Jason Sosa, and he showed a picture of his son, and he was showing a picture of his son, not aware of what his son looked like, because he was talking about how it's great that kids are so used to using cell phones at an early age and how they're hooked on screens all the time. Somehow he was painting it like it was a good thing. But his son, there was a monitor right here, and his son had this look on his face like just completely zombified, right? And so, there's unfortunately, there's an alarming percentage of the population that seems to be okay with sort of being turned into technology zombies. And one of the reasons that's not a great idea, here's an interesting document that we're gonna go into tomorrow. This is a document I just came across, so I don't know everything there is to know about it. It's called Cognitive Warfare. And this is done through NATO. And here, I'll link to it just in case you guys want to check this document out. There you go. And right now, things like disinformation, propaganda, social engineering, whatever you want to call it, PR, they've gotten really, really sophisticated. The way that either state actors or non-state actors can influence the hearts and minds of other people, right? Already with technology that's not inside of us directly influencing our brain, just with screens, just with the internet, already are hugely, hugely successful at engineering our perception of reality. Imagine in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, if this whole, transhumanism thing comes to pass, where a lot of people have direct brain interfaces like Neuralink, or something more advanced. Obviously, Neuralink is just in its infancy, but imagine what you could do on a propaganda, social engineering level, So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So let me show you guys. This is I'm gonna play this again tomorrow. It's a fun little clip though. This is from this guy. He's a neuroscientist named James Giordano, and he deals with neuroethics, and he talks about neuroweaponology. Check this out. This is interesting stuff.
But to go beyond that, now I have something called exceptional modification. No sci-fi here, folks, only facts. Then we get into the real form of a weapon. When we're talking about a real form of a weapon, remember, this is a means of contending against another in each and all of these dimensions. Assess and predict their escalations to violence so that we may be able to intervene, perhaps mitigate those, mitigate said aggression directly or indirectly, incur certain burdens of morbidity that makes them less likely to engage in combative or violent activity, and in some cases, induce mortality. These are all viable operational definitions of a weapon, and can neuroscience and technology be employed for these? Each and all. One of the areas where we're looking to refine the capabilities of neuroscience and technology is something referred to as non-lethal or less lethal weapons. And while one might think that the ethical argument strongly supports these directions, here too, there is in fact a strong discourse that pushes back against any potential military warfare applications of the brain sciences that I think you need to understand. The reason I bring that up is that this can do two things. Number one, it creates a posture where the neurosciences cannot and should not ever be used for these types of operations. Please understand, my feeling on that is, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing?
Wouldn't it be?
If we could in fact look ourselves in our eye as humanity and say we shall never employ science and technology.
Wouldn't that be great?
Means that may be destructive against others, irrespective of whether or not those individuals are aligned with our ideology and our beliefs.
But
yes, that would be. The reality of the situation poses itself as something quite differently, however. And the problem we need to face is that certain prohibitions, if not frank proscriptions against using brain science in these potential ways, even defensively, may create an opportunistic window for others to be able to then pursue these approaches more vigilantly and more aggressively.
Right. So it's that age-old, everybody else, our enemies might be doing it, so we have to too. And so literally, that's how that's how it always works, right? If we don't pursue this particular kind of weapon, we know that our enemies are going to, and so we have to too. And that's literally what every single major country says. They all say the same thing. And so it guarantees that no matter how dastardly the technology is, they're going to, at least in secret, pursue it. That's just how it works, So yeah. Hey, Marius, how's it going? Nice to see you. Josias says, it makes you think if all those science fiction movies were actually documentaries, warnings at the same time. Hey, how's it going, Seraphim? Welcome to the party. Yeah. But definitely a term to be aware of, neuroweaponology. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Sci-fi often ends up actually predicting the future. Obviously, not always, and many times it's just fantasy. But yeah, sci-fi has a prophetic role, So, but anyway, yeah, we'll be talking about all that stuff tomorrow at 5:30 Central, and definitely tune in. It'll be super interesting. In other news, here we've got another story here. Chemicals found in shampoo, perfume, and makeup are connected to premature deaths, study finds. So here we go. Here, exposure to phthalates can not only cause heart disease, but diabetes and obesity, according to several more studies. It just so happens that these man-made hazardous chemicals can be found in hundreds of items consumers buy. Yikes. So yet another category. I'm sure you guys are in the know. You guys already know about phthalates, but at least it's getting a bit more mainstream right now. But yeah, a study published in the Environmental Pollution Journal or whatever last Tuesday, and it says that it's especially linked to heart disease is the number one, apparently. Causes issues in the brain and the immune system, developmental reproductive issues as well. And it's really just something that's acting primarily as a preservative, something to make products last longer. And let's see here. Leonardo Trasand, director of NYU's Center for Investigation of Environmental Hazards, told CNN these chemicals have a rap sheet. Yikes. So, yeah, that's an interesting one right there. Definitely, if you don't know about phthalates, definitely something to avoid. Environmental Working Group is a great resource to learn more about this stuff. So if you guys don't know about them, ewg.org. They are a nonprofit who deals with all sorts of different toxicities. They're the people who do the yearly Dirty Dozen Clean 15 list, right? The Dirty Dozen being the 12 produce items that are most heavily sprayed with pesticides each year, and the Clean 15 being the 15 least sprayed, safest to buy conventional. So if you don't have a lot of money and you can't afford to buy all organic, then you can at least avoid anything conventional that's on the Dirty Dozen list, and then prioritize that way. But yeah. So there's a little study on phthalates there. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I think it's phthalates. I think the P is silent, I believe. Let's see. Here's another interesting quote here from some of my research for tomorrow night's presentation. Let's see here. This is from this guy named Zbigniew Brzezinski. This was something that was written in 1970. He says, speaking of a future at most only decades away, an experimenter in intelligence control asserted, I foresee a time when we shall have the means and therefore inevitably the temptation to manipulate the behavior and intellectual functioning of all the people through environmental and biochemical manipulation of the brain. Yeah. So, it really does seem like and again, I haven't seen all of them, but all the people advocating this transhumanism thing and merging with machines, they don't really seem to be talking very much about this. They're not talking about neuroweaponology or privacy or, the future of propaganda and disinformation, social engineering. They really tend to gloss over all that. And that is a bit disturbing to me, yeah, not great. And in more depressing news, let's see here. This is actually a little, another little public service announcement here. I don't know how much you guys know about Tylenol, also known as acetaminophen. There's a good article here, though. Well, not good. It's USA Today, but it's an article at least. And let me just link to actually. Here's a link later on if you want to learn more about this acetaminophen study that just came out. Check this one out, which is that is a link to Brett Weinstein and Heather Heying's Dark Horse podcast. That is a 10-minute video where they go into this study on Tylenol, and then the chemical name, obviously, acetaminophen. So but let me just pull this one up here. Let me show you a little bit here. So let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Tylenol during pregnancy. Here's why researchers are urging caution. So a lot of people don't know that this particular compound is actually quite a bit more toxic than the vast majority of over-the-counters. It's an active ingredient in over 600 different OTC medications. And growing evidence suggests that exposure to acetaminophen can cause neurodevelopmental, reproductive, and neurogenital disorders. So definitely, I'm not giving medical advice, not saying whether you should or shouldn't take this particular drug. Always talk to your physician, obviously. Got to say that to satisfy the lawyers here. And so I'm not telling you anything about whether you should or shouldn't take this particular treatment. But that being said, getting that out of the way, experts caution that more research is needed to determine its exact effects. In the meantime, they say pregnant people should take only acetaminophen when medically indicated. So showing various developmental issues from it. And what is interesting is that, so guess what Tylenol depletes? It depletes glutathione. And glutathione is not only essential for your immune system, but it also serves as your body's primary detoxification compound. So think about the kinds of things that tend to really, really affect neurological development of a fetus. Various different toxins, especially mercury being way up there on the list because it really wreaks havoc on the brain. So the lower your glutathione levels, the worse your clearance of a wide variety of toxins is going to be. So by depleting glutathione, it's very possible that could be one of the mechanisms of action by which acetaminophen is causing problems for the fetus. Is that it's depleting the glutathione so that the baby's body can't get rid of toxins as well. And unfortunately, the placental barrier, there are many toxins that can go right through that barrier and go from the mother to the baby. And mercury is certainly one of them. Yeah. So my professor in school, he was a physician of, I think, almost 50 years. He was a very old guy. He was from India. He was a wealth of information and, again, had over 4 decades of experience as an MD. He had seen so many people overdose on this stuff and go into liver failure in the hospital during his time as a doctor, that he actually thought that he told our class multiple times that he thought that it should not be over the counter. It should be prescription only, that it was too dangerous to be an over the counter drug. So And then also it's important to know that a lot of folks who get prescribed prescription, painkillers like Vicodin, that's not just an opiate. That also has acetaminophen in it. And so some of the damage that's being done from people who are overdoing these prescription painkillers, or perhaps they're getting them illegally, is actually not from the opioid component of the Vicodin. It's from the acetaminophen component. Very, very toxic to the liver. And yeah, so, something to be aware of. Causes glutathione depletion. Yeah. And somebody's asking about kratom. Yeah, I will say, so kratom, you do want to be careful with. It is an opioid. Obviously, on the botanical level and on the chemical level, it is taxonomically and structurally totally different from, anything that's from actual opium poppies. But pharmacologically, it does activate opioid receptors. And because of that, you do want to be very careful. I did work with a guy a while back who actually had to go to rehab for kratom. He was fully addicted to it, couldn't get off of it. It was causing a lot of problems. It seems to be, by some accounts, potentially obviously gentler than like the real deal, or than pharmaceuticals. But it still can cause problems. It can cause withdrawal effects. It can cause behavioral changes, personality changes, and constipation. One hallmark of opioids is that they put your digestive system to sleep the same way they put your brain to sleep, So they will reduce peristalsis. They'll slow peristalsis, which is just, the name for the movement of food and fecal material, everything, how fast the conveyor belt of your GI tract is moving, basically. So something to be aware of. They tend to be a little, kratom, I've heard also is a bit toxic for the liver. I don't know if that's the case as far as having researched it personally, but that probably seems like it might be true. And tends to inhibit digestive function. So yeah, definitely something to be aware of. Kratom is one of those herbs that should be used only on an as-needed basis and is far too toxic to be used on a daily basis, in my opinion, as an herbalist. So yeah, something to be aware of. It can be powerful medicine if used correctly, but it has side effects and is a pretty bad idea to use it on a regular basis, in my opinion. But yeah, again, sometimes if you switching one thing out for another thing, as long as the new thing is less bad, it's still a step in the right direction, So, but yeah, Seraphim, if you have access to a good natural medicine practitioner, a good licensed doctor of some kind who is natural leaning, then that might be somebody you might want to consult with who could give you some good advice there. Yeah. All right. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, by the way, though, in general, I always like to plug those guys. They're really awesome. That last link to the one that says Odyssey Dark Horse Podcast. If you guys don't know Brett Weinstein and Heather Hying, they are awesome. Dark Horse Podcast. And as far as, I'll give you some evidence. Their badge, they got their badge of honor by getting demonetized on YouTube for talking about certain things that are verboten, according to the information police. But they are amazing PhD biologist, husband and wife team, very, very brilliant people. They have great guests on. They've been on Joe Rogan before a couple times. Certain things that I can't talk about, obviously, but you know what I mean when I say that's the thing I can't talk about, that they have talked about at great length, and they paid the price for it. So they are still on YouTube, but they've been demonetized. They've been slapped on the wrist multiple times. So they do some YouTube, and then Odyssey is a non-censored platform where they do their other stuff. So every once in a while, you'll see a clip on YouTube, and they'll start talking about something on the clip, and they'll say, if you want to see the rest of the clip, because 1984 has captured 2021, check the link below to go to our Odyssey. So that's basically how that works. Yes. But anyway, I will say once more, at the risk of being annoying, if you weren't here toward the beginning, definitely this link I'm posting here for tomorrow's Stay Human episode 1. Definitely tune in. I'm going to be talking for 90 minutes tomorrow from 5:30 until 7 o'clock Central about everything technology. We're going to go into the transhumanist movement, into ethical versus unethical use of technology, EMFs, all sorts of interesting stuff. And maybe I won't go too much more into all that today, so I don't so don't overdo it and save it all for tomorrow, all my material. But it's going to be really interesting. And obviously, it is episode 1, so it will be something we'll be doing in the future. I'll, every few weeks or so, I'll put one of these together. Should be interesting. Yes. So yeah, the thing that starts with a V that you get in trouble for talking about. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe we need a little palate cleanser after all that heavy stuff. What do you guys think? Should we perhaps give away a product? I say let's do it. So if you're a regular, you know the drill. If not, right now, give me a number between 1 and 100 and post it in the chat. You have 30 seconds. And remember, sometimes we do have malfunctions, so I will do my best, though, to not miss anybody's. But yeah, any number between 1 and 100. And whoever wins will receive one of any CHOQ product, the CHOQ product of your choosing. All right, there we go. And going once, going twice, and done. All right. Yeah. So anybody who came in after I said done, I am sorry, but I do have to cut it off at some point. So what is our number for today? Our number is 22. Wow. Is that going to be a tie? It sure is. We had a couple people give 23 and the number was 22. So it looks like Hunter and CHOQTOR are tied. So it's actually going to have to be a tiebreaker between you two guys. So Hunter and CHOQTOR, just the two of you guys, nobody else. You guys now give me another number between 1 and 100. And whichever you guys is closest will get the prize. So Hunter and CHOQTOR, interesting name, CHOQTOR, CHOQYWII. People have some really interesting names on here for sure. Okay, and let's generate the number. The number is 42. So it looks as if Hunter is the winner, right? Because that's 42 minus 7 is 35. 42, that's, yes, Hunter, you won. Hunter Lawrence is the official winner of prize number 1. So Hunter, I don't know if you know, but if you don't, it's just email CHOQ@CHOQ.com and say, hey, I won prize number 1, which is, again, one of any CHOQ product. Just tell them which product you want. It can be, well, it can't be Apex Glutathione because we're out of that one right now, but it could be Action. This is a nice pricey one that'll get you good bang for your buck for, free product here. It could be Shilajit, everyone's favorite. Obviously for men, Daily, Ashwagandha, right? Or another one of our products that's actually fantastic that is a little bit underrated is Armor. Or one of the favorites, obviously, Tomcat. And of course, you can also do cacao beans if you like. You can do a shirt if you like, whatever you want. Yes. So congratulations, Hunter. Well done. Well done. Way to be psychic. Yeah. And we will give away prize number 2 in just a bit here. So, and I'm curious, if you're new, let me know. If this is your first time, let me know in the chat. Say hello. And as a quick annoying reminder, if you guys wouldn't mind liking this video, subscribing if you'd like to would be awesome. Do the whole like and subscribe thing. You know, I'm pretty sure every modern human has heard the phrase like and subscribe at least 100,000 times if you watch YouTube. And I hate to be part of the problem by saying the same thing everybody else says, but yes, please like and subscribe, like this video. And go to the Stay Human video that I for tomorrow, and go like that one. You can set an alert if you like as well. That'll let you know when we're doing it. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. But if you can't show up tomorrow and watch it live and do the whole live Q&A thing, then definitely come back and watch it sometime. You know, I'll try to go back and actually maybe put some chapters in it, because it's going to be an hour and a half long. So could be a little bit challenging to navigate if you're watching the replay, figure out what's what. But yeah. So what else is new? Let's see here. What do you guys got for me? Anything? Oh, you know what? No, I'm going to save this one for tomorrow. Yeah. This is from Douglas Rushkoff. He's really cool. Critic of transhumanism. What do you guys think about transhumanism? Are you guys going to get the chip? Do you want tell me if you in the chat if you want the chip in your brain. Do you guys want to get the Neuralink? Or are you guys into it? Practically a rhetorical question. Obviously, I know I know you guys aren't. Although, you know, I mean, whatever. Like, it's cool. I'm all about diversity, you know, of opinion. You know, I'd be shocked if any one of you guys was like, yeah, I'm going to get the chip, but you never know. You never know. Probably not a great idea. Okay, Musical Nat says, sign me up. Have a feeling that this person may be being a tad bit sarcastic, but you never know, you know? Yeah. Oh, and then followed up with not. So yeah. Musical Nat says, have you released any new products? We have not, but we do have one coming out sometime before Christmas. And we do have the reformulated Apex glutathione coming out sometime around Christmas as well. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I personally would not really want to have to worry about my brain getting hacked, you know? That sounds like not a lot of fun, you know? And I can only imagine, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been following what's like in China right now with the whole social credit thing, but oh my God, could you imagine if you lived in China and they have the level of control and ability to induce conformity that they do with the current systems they have in place with the whole social credit system? Imagine what that's going to be like when the citizens of China, who already have virtually zero rights, just, you know, they're already screwed. Imagine when it becomes, you know, compulsory for them to all have neurological implants. That's pretty crazy stuff. That is pretty crazy stuff. Yes. Yeah. Musical Nat says Terminator 2.0. Yeah. Yeah. Terminator's a great movie though. But you know what, guys, I do have to say, I don't like to be all doom and gloom and just talk about that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously that, you know, there's that whole thing, like if it bleeds, it leads. That's what gets ratings. That's how you sell stuff, is, you know, freak people out and shock them. And it's unfortunately true. But at the same time, like I'm a very optimistic person. I really am. And I'm not somebody who likes to just fixate on the negative. That's not how you do things, man. It's just not. So what I will say is that really it's important just to know where you stand in all of this, you know, and to stand up for your rights, but also to vote by being to vote with what kind of future you want, just by being as kind and patient of a human being as you possibly can. And being part of the solution, not part of the problem, in the sense that, violence and, and negativity and judgment and anger, while I'm sure that humans, that some of that will happen on the planet during our various chaotic transformations the next however many years, that's not the answer. It's really not, what is the answer is to just ask the universe or God or whatever you want to call it to upgrade you to the point where you can be the most effective, helpful, kind person you can during a time of extreme challenge, knowing at the same time that we're all human and like, it's going to really suck. And there's going to be days when, like yesterday I had a pretty awful day. My brain was just not working for no reason at all. Maybe it was a solar flares or God only knows, but I just had this horrible brain fog. And no matter how much chalk I took, which usually does the trick 9 times out of 10, I was just in this weird fog and I was not feeling great, and I was kind of irritable. I just didn't really want to talk to anybody because I was not myself. And who knows, maybe I was going through some sort of energetic detox or, DNA upgrade, according to some people. Who knows what was actually happening? God only knows. But, it happens and we're all human. So we're not going to do this perfectly. And we all should give ourselves permission to screw up sometimes, Sam says anti-biohack. Yeah. Sam, I don't know if you are familiar with this, but I would love to share a blog with you. One that I wrote called Don't Be a Biohacker Because You're Not a Machine. It's on the CHOQ website. And let me just go ahead and link to that now. Sam, you may enjoy this if you haven't read it already. Yeah, that's a really good one. And some of what's in that I will go over tomorrow. There's a whole inheritance, a philosophical inheritance that we have from several hundred years ago during the times of people like Descartes and Galileo and Kepler. And back then, oh, Sam, you read it. Awesome. Well, good for you. That's really cool. I'm glad you loved it. Anybody else who's interested, definitely read that one. But yeah, it became fashionable a few hundred years ago, during the Enlightenment or whatever, that basically that we should think of nature as being machine-like, and thus was born mechanomorphism. I think this is one of those super important $1 million words, $1 billion words, $1 trillion words that people should know about. Mechanomorphism, right? So it's the counter to anthropomorphism, So if we see a robot and we're like, oh, what a cute little robot, and we name the robot Steve, we're like, that's Steve the robot, and then we treat the robot like a person, that's anthropomorphism, which a lot of people are familiar with perhaps as a term, right? But if you see your friend and you say, my friend is basically like a robot or a machine, that's mechanomorphism. And oftentimes we do this to ourselves. With our language, we talk about, fueling up or running like a well-oiled machine, or, your gears grinding, using machine metaphors to describe living organisms. And one of the most bizarre things that some of y'all will know from me talking and also from this article is that Descartes was so convinced that his model of reality was accurate, that animals didn't have feelings because they were machines, that he would do live vivisection on animals, basically just do actual surgery, taking out organs and things like that without anesthesia for animals. And his followers would kick their dogs to show allegiance to this bizarre, utterly bizarre, evil ethos. Super messed up. But yeah, the whole biohacking thing, unfortunately, it's tied to that picture of reality. they wanted to get rid of back then this tradition of vitalism, this idea that there's a vital life force, that nature has this life force, that it's truly alive, that there's a spiritual force inside nature, a true life force, chi or prana or orgone or whatever you want to call it. And they wanted to get rid of that. Rupert Sheldrake talks about it in his book, Science Set Free, about this shift in the 1600s in the West, Johannes Kepler in 1605 said, "My aim is to show the celestial machine is to be likened not to a divine organism, but rather to clockwork." So basically humans, and this relates so much to transhumanism and AI and robotics and all this stuff, cybernetics, humans have gotten, we're really quite taken with our machines that we've made, right? We're really impressed by the machines we've made. We're like, man, we're amazing. Look at these machines we built, right? And so as a result, we get sort of infatuated with our machines. And we tend to want to think of God as a machine maker, because that in our head makes us think that we're more like God, right? So humans make machines. Then we think, oh, God is like a big clockmaker or machine maker, right? Because that means that we're just like God. So it makes sense though, right? It's a way of sort of elevating yourself, and also elevating yourself, saying that we're above nature, we're not part of nature, that we look down on nature and dominate nature and exploit it, basically. So yeah, pretty weird deal. But anyway, that's that whole thing. I'd say mechanomorphism is something that everybody should be familiar with that term. Very important term. All right. Seraphim, you know about the orgone. That's cool. Yeah, I used to make orgonite. Big fan. All right, here. Robot dog used in Hawaii to check homeless for some flu thing. Wow. All right. Boy, howdy. Yeah. You got to wonder about the future of drones, that sort of thing, obviously, robots could do amazing things. They're, all this technology is inherently neutral. The problem is it just has such incredible abuse potential, let's just all hope that humanity can evolve to the point where we can use it responsibly, Of course, the cynical part of me thinks that that's not possible yet. Doesn't mean it won't be, though. We might be shocked if we look back 5 or 10 years from now at how much humanity has grown as a result of this mass awakening that's happening right now. We really might be. So definitely hold space for that, for sure. All right. And on that note, I think it's time for prize number 2. So once again, I'll put 30 seconds on the clock. Get your answers in as soon as you possibly can. 30 seconds to give me a number between 1 and 100 for prize number 2, which is, of course, as most of y'all know, a bag of cacao beans and an organic cotton CHOQ t-shirt. Chalky Wee, will this be your time to win? Is this the one? All right, almost there. Going. And all right, time is up. All right, and the number is 28. So who is closest to 28? So Diani is 7 away from 28. Destry is 8 away from 28. And so Diani, I believe you're 7 away. So yeah. Looks like Diani is the winner. Diani Ruiz. Congratulations, Diani. Email CHOQ@CHOQ.com and tell them that you won prize number 2 today, that you would like your bag of cacao beans, and then also tell them which style and color and size shirt you would like. which you can, of course, find on the CHOQ website. So congratulations. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm going to head out here in a second. Hopefully, I will see you guys for Stay Human tomorrow. Once again, that's at 5:30 p.m. Central, and we'll be going for 90 minutes. So even if you can't stay tuned, or if you can't tune in for the whole thing, come there for part of it. We will, of course, be giving away prizes as usual. Should be interesting. Definitely will be a little bit intense. I've never done a 90-minute before, so we'll see how that goes. It's just, these are about 45 minutes, so it's like 2 of these back to back. I might have to have an intermission in the middle where I show a long video or something. We'll see, but should be very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I love sleeping in my CHOQ tea, says Laura. Yeah, they're really soft. Yeah. So awesome. Well, I'm going to jet. Hope you guys have a lovely evening. I will see y'all tomorrow night. And until then, stay human.